Mayor Andrew Humphrey would like to make some remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council, and to Sue's family. As I look out here, as I stand here and look at that dais, it's clear that this is just wrong. This is not right. I am used to seeing Sue's smiling face back at me, and have seen that for many, many years, and have taken great comfort from it. She would be able to smile and be able to laugh during our most challenging times and help us get through them. She would be able to smile and laugh at my jokes, which was also very kind of her. But she, as I reflected on what she's given to all of us in this outpouring in this community over the last few days and the last few weeks, and why that has been so significant, it's clear to me that she has defined what it means to be a servant leader. And that's a phrase that Greg Rye has used quite a bit over the last several years, and we've heard, and maybe over time we begin to not really pay attention to what it means. But when I think about it, it truly defines Sue Bangert. The servant component of it, some of it's been spoken to already, and it's not only the recent months in her courage and perseverance, but even generally deciding to serve in the many ways she has in this community at a time in her life where, frankly, she could have easily said, I want to spend time with my daughters, my grandchildren, and Andy, and I want to travel, and I want to do all these things, and I've made my contributions. And instead, she loved this town so much that she gave that time, whether it's early at these god-awful Wilcox 7 a.m. meetings, or the late meetings, or the weekends. That's what it was to be a real servant. And the leadership component, you can be a leader in so many different ways. And Sue was a leader, in my mind, because of her independence. And whether that's from thinking back to when she was on the Planning Commission and her strong views, many of which were, to me at the time, meant that she was a real pain in the rear, frankly. And then when she came onto the council, and I got to know her and count her among my close friends, I remember about a year after she'd been on the council, we had a cup of coffee, and I asked her what surprised her about being on the council. And she said how complex the issues were, and how there were many more things to think about than just being on Planning Commission. And I was struck by that, because here you had a woman, obvious intelligence, strong views, had been involved in the community, been involved in civic government, and she was coming to a new position and not just saying, I'm going to follow this, this, and that, but I've got an open mind. I've got an independent mind. I'm going to listen to what's being presented to me and recognize the complexity of what I'm being asked to do. And then, lastly, as I had the opportunity to serve with her and to see her independence and her strength and that form of leadership and how she acted, I learned early on that it did very little good to be able to ask Sue a few days before a meeting on a big issue, how are you leaning on this? Because normally what she would say is, well, this is a hard issue, it's complex, I'm weighing this, this, and that, this, and that. She'd studied it much more deeply normally than I had. And she would say, I'm still reflecting on it. And several times she said a phrase that I keep coming back to, which is, I'm not going to decide until I hear the people speak. And that's a challenge for all of us, I think, when we're doing all the homework and reading through the materials, is to really make genuine the public input. And Sue did that. She would not make a decision until she heard the people speak. And there were a few big issues that we've all been involved in where going into the meeting, I didn't know where she was going to end up. I don't know, frankly, if she'd made up her mind until she heard the entire presentation and heard the people speak. So Sue was not only a dear friend to many of us and made so many contributions, but she will have, as part of her legacy, the definition of being a servant leader for this town. Thank you.